Look who's here, look who's here. Mike, hello there.
Bam! Good morning, good morning, good morning from Montreal.
Yes.
Can you tell that I just took my coffee? I took my coffee. I'm ready. Even though I was working from 3 to 7 in the morning.
Oh
I'm
my
alive.
God.
I'm alive. I made it.
Yeah, it happens. It happens so much. We get to work at crazy hours, but hey,
Come on.
we love what we do. We do what we do.
Oh gosh. Hello everyone. Hello. Pleased to meet you all.
How are you?
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
how's everything?
Now we will start. So prepare
Okay.
your cam.
Wait.
Yeah.
Happy early International Translation Day.
Same to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
Happy International Translation Day. Now, no one entered. Okay, I'll make all. And then.
Wow.
Well, okay. Now we have the participants with us, right? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
there we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, everywhere. Happy International Translation Day. I'm so happy to have you all here today. And we, Apex Legal Translation, are so proud to announce our partnership with CIOL UK and St. Joseph University in Dubai. And now, Mr. Dom Habelthwaite will kick off our lovely night. Hi, Dom.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you? Everything is fine?
Very good. I will just share my screen.
Yeah, now the floor is yours.
So yes, it's great to be here to celebrate the forthcoming International Translators Day at this event organized by Apex International. Absolutely delighted to be here. I prepared a brief initial presentation looking at technology in translation, the impact of AI on translations and translators, and with a bit of a future outlook as well. So of course, translation is an art worth protecting. This is why we are here. I think you have to be living under a rock not to have been aware of the massive advances, obviously, with AI in the last year or two, and not just in translation, of course, but across the whole world and professional sectors. It's obviously unclear how this will all pan out over the years and coming decades, but really we're here to share ideas of how we can view AI as an ally rather than just as a rival, to help enrich our work, because of course translation is an art worth protecting. Just very briefly, I'm the head of membership of the Chartered Institute of Linguists. We are, in some senses, a uniquely British organisation in the sense that we have a royal charter awarded by the Privy Council. So for us, the Queen, in the UK, you have in each industry sector normally one professional body there for upholding standards, quality standards. We are, after the ATA, the American Translators Association, the largest professional body for linguists in the world, and the only organisation which can award the title of chartered linguist or chartered translator. Like all professional bodies, we have our own purpose, and ours is to contribute to international goodwill by encouraging the study and use of languages and recognize those working as linguists, whether they be translators, interpreters, or using languages in any other way in professional contexts. So of course, we've seen many tech revolutions already within translation. Terminology tools, translation memory, very controversial at the time, decades ago, but widely accepted. Machine translation, statistical and neural machine translation, and now generative AI. So it's something we're used to, perhaps more than certain other sectors as well. But it's interesting to see, of course, what will happen now. What do we mean, of course, by generative AI? And I'll look at this along with machine translation in a little bit of detail. Now they're basically these models such as ChatGPT, based on large language models. They're generative models, so they will always give you an answer, create content rightly or wrongly, and of course, based on huge training data as well. This is from a recent roundtable we had for our members, June 24, so a few months ago, but still pretty current. And we were asking our members how much of a threat or an opportunity AI such as ChatGPT is. And as you can see, a number of people obviously did view it as a threat. The biggest proportion said similar to machine translation, on a par with machine translation. The significant minority, the biggest threat to the profession, some people still making their mind up, and the optimist about amongst us saying it's just overall a great thing, more content to translate. I think it's worthwhile just looking at what's happened with machine translation, bearing in mind this is viewed as a sort of similar threat. This is a model from Gartner, who are a large American research firm specialized in IT, and they basically suggest that every technology goes through a kind of 5-stage process, a 5-stage hype cycle. So you start with the technology trigger, the new technology. You then have what they call the peak of inflated expectations, when everybody goes, oh, wow, this technology is going to change absolutely everything. You then have the trough of disillusionment, when people sort of look at it and say, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, this is kind of useless. You then have a slope of enlightenment as people kind of work better with the technology. And then finally, you reach what they call a plateau of productivity, somewhere above, in terms of the technology use, above where you were before. And we do very much see this with machine translation. The first models were actually in the 1950s, with a Georgetown and IBM experiment, a demo with human operator and punch cards, translating from Russian to English with a rules-based system. And after this, the organizers confidently predicted that that translation as an art, a profession, as a task, would be completely solved within around about 3 to 5 years. Obviously, that didn't happen. People realized the rules-based models didn't work. We then had the next sort of peak with statistical models, the sort of first versions of Google Translate, for example. And once again, the hype cycle kicked in and people found lots of errors. It's kind of died down. And then we reached the third kind of peak with neural machine translation models, such as DeepL and others that were introduced, which used not just statistical, but also kind of neural based models based on making associations when translating. And we reached the sort of improved level there. So that's machine translation. We'll see with generative AI. Of course, with machine translation, it does very much vary. My language is Italian, and the quality is really very, very good. Indo-European languages tend to be the best. German was obviously tended to be more difficult, but with DeepL we reached better levels. Arabic, Chinese have tended to be, harder to translate. This is obviously between English in terms of these examples, and of course these are major world languages, so there's lots of resources going into them, but certain other languages where there's more differences between the languages, but also less resources put in there, quality has often been very bad. Just sticking with the sort of situation before generative AI, this is a model from the Common Sense Advisory research group, and CIOL would have a very sort of similar view to this. This is kind of how large-scale translation projects are working and expected to work in the foreseeable future. We see the linguists there at the heart of the process, working with a range of tools, of course, translation memory, machine translation, terminology management tools, and so on and so forth. This is a fairly kind of structured way of working, and it will be interesting to see as kind of generative AI gets more implemented, whether we go to a slightly more kind of Wild West model, or whether it will just be another component within this kind of model. We said translation has been massively affected by technology. CIOL members are large users of technology. This is once again before generative AI. We see 80% of our members using CAT tools, machine translation, and other tools to help them within translation. And then now we move to sort of generative AI, and this is once again from our recent roundtable. And I think this is very interesting to see amongst our members what they're doing. And we can see that actually 35% of our members are already using models such as ChatGPT to help them with their translation work. So that's for relatively new technology is a pretty big number. Another good chunk using it as a sort of efficiency tool for other purposes. People have never used it, and some people who've tried and didn't find it useful for them. In terms of CIOL, obviously we're a professional body, we're not a translation agency, so we're not delivering translations. However, we have been using in generative AI in certain forms. There are always sort of concerns with accuracy, hallucinations, and so forth, and ethical questions. But we have found that for certain tasks, use of generative AI can be very useful, creating different versions of content to check, looking at transcripts and summarizing things. And so there are certainly, uses we have found within there. To come back to the hype cycle, if you like, that we talked about before with technology, which we always see. This is from a recent piece of research by Monash and Macau University, along with Tencent AI Lab, so Chinese AI company, and they did a piece of research where they translated a novel and created a series of trans agents fulfilling different roles. And sort of announced it was better than humans, but when you delved into it, it sort of really wasn't, and there were still kind of the hallucinations within there and certain vague bits. But there is kind of a lot of hype going on. There was just actually this week a similar piece of research from Google where they didn't get quite as carried away as this, but they were using AI to do more than just one-shot translation, to have a sort of series of roles starting from research to translation to proofreading, and found that worked better than just straight machine translation. But plenty of hype around there, of course. Once again, looking at sort of our members in terms of how AI has changed their conversations, whether they're working with LSPs or with direct clients. And we've seen some changes for sure for a number of people. The people who've said it's sort of made a massive difference is relatively small at the moment, 12%. And some people haven't really seen any difference, or it's sort of had conversations without, making big changes. But very interesting to see, how that potentially changes over the coming years and over time. So in terms of our views on generative AI, and a lot of this also applies to machine translation, we do have significant concerns about unsupervised use, people using these tools without understanding the risks and the pitfalls with them. There are lots of questions around data. Of course, any important content that is translated, there are lots of risks within all sorts of kind of sectors, whether that's medical or other sectors. Hallucination is a very significant problem with all generative AIs. It's almost built into the models, because they are generative. They will always give you an answer, whether they know the answer or not. So hallucination is a very big issue. And when they try often to reduce hallucination, they kind of reduce fluency as well. So that's a big concern. Model collapse is a theory some people have about as more content is AI generated, AI models being trained on AI content, and the kind of risks and drops in quality that can bring. But of course, there are also opportunities certainly in terms of content generation, seeing more and more people are able to generate new content quicker. Creativity may sound strange when we're talking about AI, but particularly with generative AI, people sort of at least bouncing ideas and then making decisions upon that. Efficiency gains, of course, various kind of quality checks and versioning. So certainly a mixed picture, concerns and risks, and some opportunities as well. So to sum up, from CIOL's perspective, we know we can't stop AI technology. AI technology is here, and it would be impossible and unrealistic for us to try and stop it. But of course, there are aspects that we need to challenge. New models do mean new opportunities. So it's looking out for those as well. One thing for sure is that there will be more and more content translated. It certainly looks like we'll move to a world where the expectation is that everything is translated, and clearly we believe the human will have an essential part within that, and the most skilled linguists will be in demand. We do feel that for maybe the less skilled translators, it may be tough, because machine translation and AI is reaching maybe to 90% levels of a skilled translator, but actually that then makes the skilled translator even more precious when the content is important to determine and improve that content there. So that's really it. I know there will be a roundtable with some more questions later on, but these are some of the questions we're asking. What are the problems? What are the challenges? I think it's fair to say that translators have kind of been through an AI cycle already with machine translation, and in many other professions that are being affected by AI now, that they're not as prepared as we are, because we've kind of already experienced much technology affecting translation. There will be opportunities. There probably will be new roles, of course, as well, and also skilled translators and linguists should look to sort of bring the additional understanding, cultural understanding, nuances, being more and more consultants for their clients on translation. These skills will be very important. So I think that would be me. Done, Nancy. Shall I hand back over to you?
Yeah. Thank you, Dom. Thank you so much for this amazing presentation. And now, let me introduce you to my co-host, Elsa. Elsa, how are you?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm so very happy to see you here, really. I'm doing great. Nancy, how are you?
I'm fine, Elsa. Elsa, tell me more about ITD, International Translation Day, and where did it come from? Who was the translator who inspired it, and why do we celebrate it?
Hmm. Haven't you been in our event last year about ITD, Nancy?
No, I didn't. I didn't know about it.
You didn't know. Oh my God, I'm sorry. My bad, my bad. I should have told you about it. Here's the link to it. Don't forget to like and share, by the way. So let's look at what the internet says about it. So International Translation Day, or ITD, is the day that celebrates translators, interpreters, and language professionals who really make the world a better place. And it's on the 30th of September.
But why exactly September 30?
Now, September 30th is the feast of Saint Jerome. Saint Jerome is the patron saint of translators. He is the one who translated most of the Bible from Greek to Latin. So this is why on May 24th, 2017, the UN General Assembly decided to pass this resolution 71/288, declaring that the ITD is going to be observed on the 30th of September. So for each year, there is a particular theme that is brought forward for it. And so can you guess what it is for this year?
Translation and art worth protecting.
Great, Nancy. How did you know?
What do you mean? How did I know? I'm a translator just like you, Elsa. It's in my bones.
Oh, I didn't know it.
I'm sorry, my bad. I promise I'll be more present on social media. But do you know what they mean by protecting?
No.
تعالي أقول لك. Excuse my Lebanese.
Oh, come on. Excuse my Lebanese. No, by the way, this reminds me of a funny story. So the Arab-speaking communities are very diverse and they have so many different dialects, but don't ask me how. We can understand each other and very easily. So don't ask me why, ask her.
Don't ask me either. Okay. The theme this year calls for us to protect the translation as an art, protect copyright and related rights, and to protect our livelihood, ensuring the future and sustainability of our profession, sorry. And so let's celebrate our creativity, longevity, and unity on September 30 and mark International Translation Day. So translators, interpreters, and language professionals around the world, please unite and stay with us in our celebration. And with that in mind, I'll now give the floor to St. Joseph University in Dubai speakers, our impactful speaker, Dr. Melissa Muzanner. The floor is yours. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Elsa, for the introduction. So I'm going to try to limit my presentation to 10 minutes. Okay. So it's a pleasure today to be celebrating the International Translation Day. Let me just try to share my screen. I was almost going to forget that. Hold on. Okay. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I just need a few minutes. I just need to And is it in the slideshow mode or no? So I'll just go. Okay. So good evening, everyone again. My name is Dr. Melissa Muzannar. I'm the head of the Master in Translation program at St. Joseph University, Dubai, School of Translation. It's an honor to share this special occasion with everyone and represent St. Joseph University, Dubai, as we come together to celebrate tonight the art of translation. Today is a very special day for us as translators. We gather not just to acknowledge the work of translators, but to celebrate the art of translation itself. We get to reflect on the impact we make and recognize our role, especially in connecting cultures, bridging gaps, fostering understanding, and enhancing communication. Translation isn't just about replacing words, just like we all know. It's an art. It's an art form, and that's why this year's theme resonates so deeply. Translation and art worth protecting. Today, I want to talk about why it's important to protect translation as an art. I'll focus on how translation goes beyond just swapping words and how the human touch makes a difference. But before diving into today's theme, I'd like to take a moment to highlight the legacy of our mother campus, St. Joseph University of Beirut, and the School of Translators and Interpreters of Beirut, and share a bit about the work we're doing here in Dubai, specifically in the Master in Translation program at St. Joseph University, Dubai. So about our mother campus, let me just give you a quick overview. We're proud here to be an extension of the School of Translators and Interpreters of Beirut, which has been around since 1980. The school has built a strong reputation for training excellent translators and interpreters who are highly skilled in Arabic, French, and English. What's even more impressive is the strong connection the school has with major global organizations like the UN and the European Parliament. It shows how relevant and prestigious we consider the program to be in the international scene. And I'm excited to share that the Master in Translation program has once again been awarded the EMT label, the quality label, for a period that starts now to 2029. And it's the second time we've received this honor, granted by the European Commission's Directorate General for Translation. And this label is a quality label that recognizes both the academic excellence and the professional relevance of our program, which meets the highest standards and is, of course, aligned with AI and the market needs of today. So about the translation program that we have here in Dubai, it's a bilingual program, Arabic and English, and it builds on that strong legacy. We launched it in 2016 with the goal of preparing students for real-world challenges in a variety of fields. So we have legal translation, literary translation, economic translation, banking, conference, translating ads, and creative writing. But what's really special about the program is that it's not just about learning the technical skills of translation. Yes, our students become highly skilled in translating text, but we also focus on working on their creativity. So we want them to be able to adapt their translation to different audiences and cultures in a way that really resonates. And one of the things I'm particularly proud of is how we integrate both technology and practice into our program. So we have tools like the Eltrados, Lingabit, and many others, which are essential in today's tech-driven world of translation. But while we teach them these tools, we always want to emphasize on the human element. We want to emphasize the human element. So no matter how advanced the technology gets, it can't replace the creativity that we have as humans and the cultural awareness that we have, the nuance that human translators bring to the table. And that brings us to the theme of today's discussion, protecting translation as an art form. So in our program, we don't just teach the craft of translation, we help our students understand the ethical, the creative responsibilities that come with it. So whether they're handling sensitive cultural material or working on something as technical as a legal document, a conference document, they need to make thoughtful and informed decisions. And of course, how to translate it. And part of that responsibility includes understanding copyright protection, which I will leave my colleague, Dr. Nabiha Maktabi, to discuss this in more detail. So this is just like between brackets. So for those of you who are considering a career in translation, I don't know if the crowd that we have today is are, I don't know, students in translations or professional translators or just people who are interested in translation. So I welcome you to get in touch with us to learn more about the program. So this brings us to today's main topic. Which is the art form, translation as an art form. It's not a technical from with another. It's about interpretation, and that's where the artistry comes in. When we translate, we are engaging with meaning, context, emotion, all of that into one text. Whenever it's a legal document, a novel, a simple phrase, the job of a translator goes far beyond substituting words. It's about understanding the message behind those words, the feeling, the cultural nuances, and the intent of the original author. So when I teach translation, I always tell my students, it's like working with music. You don't simply play the notes, you bring your own interpretation to the performance. Just as a musician breathes life into a composition, a translator breathes life. I love this example. I always give this example to my students. Also, I give you another example. Imagine for a moment you're reading a poem in your native language. So my native language is Arabic. So if I read a poem in Arabic, there's something intimate about the emotions in it that stirs in you. The rhythm, the tone, the imagery. It all comes together to create a feeling that's hard to explain, but you just get it. So now picture trying to translate that same poem into a completely different language. It's not as simple. It's not that simple. So this is where the translator plays the role of capturing those same emotions and try as much as possible to convey them in a way that makes sense in a new language and a new culture. And this is what I call art. Recreate emotional experience rather than just translating words. And I just want to talk about also the significance of the human element in translation beyond technology. So as we step further into the 21st century, we've been talking about this. It's been years that we talk about machine translation and AI and how it's advancing so fast. And let's be honest, machine translation tools are pretty impressive. They're quick, they're convenient, and for straightforward text, they do the job. But here's the thing, they don't come close to the creativity that we have as humans, the intuition, the cultural sensitivity that we as human translators bring to the table. Machine operate, of course, on algorithms and patterns, and while they're great as at swapping one word for another, they often miss, in my opinion, deeper layers of meaning in a text. So if let me give you an example. You're translating a marketing campaign that includes a clever pun. Now, a machine might translate that phrase word for word, but it would completely miss the humor or the cultural significance. It can't tell that the joke relies on a play on words or that the reference needs to be adapted to make sense in the target cultures. And what happens? It falls out. Like the translation falls flat. Or it's the same case in irony or metaphors. They are tricky for machines because they require more than just understanding the words. They need a grasp of context, tone, emotion, and as a translator instructor, I've seen this. I've seen this with whenever I work with my students. They give me examples where the machine translation didn't work well for them. So, for example, I had a student once use machine translation for the phrase "break the ice." So the machine translated it literally, making it sound like someone was actually smashing ice, completely missing the meaning and the meaning of starting a conversation with someone or easing tension with someone. So this is where I always tell my students to be careful. This is exactly what we teach. So I always tell them to use technology as a tool, but we always emphasize, if it was for me or other my colleagues in this field, technology is just here as an aid. So while we definitely embrace technology, we never lose sight of the fact that it's the human touch that makes translation an art form, and our ability to think creatively and adapt to new context is what will keep this profession thriving in the digital age. And that's why translation is so much more than just a task. It's an art worth protecting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Minister. Very insightful presentation. I love it, love it, love it. And actually, we have a small question coming from, let me see, Iman. So the question is, are there other languages besides English and Arabic at the universities? So I know a bit in Beirut, but I don't know very much in Dubai. So
no, we just teach Arabic and English here in St. Joseph University because we also look at the profiles of students who apply, and most of them are English or Arabic speakers. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Melissa, for this outstanding presentation. And now we have another insightful speaker, Dr. Nabiha Maktabi from USJ as well. Thank you, Dr. Nabiha. Hi.
Hello, Nancy. Hi, everyone.
Hi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, the writer is the artist, crafting a masterpiece using words as his brush. The translator is the curator, carefully preserving that creation and unveiling its beauty to audiences across cultures and ensuring it really speaks in every language with the exact same soul. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, I would like first to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the team, to Nancy and to Elsa, and everyone behind this conference for organizing this event. And it's really an honor to be part of the celebration marking International Translation Day. Today, I'm really reminded of my experience at the Louvre Abu Dhabi, where I witnessed firsthand the profound connection between translation and curating art. In that extraordinary space under the wonderful dome, every piece tells a story. The story of a culture, of a civilization, and every curator in the museum plays a vital role in preserving and presenting these stories and these artworks to a diverse audience from different cultures across the world. In many ways, I think that translators perform a very similar function. Just as art curators select, preserve, and display artworks to ensure they resonate with audiences from different cultures, translators also take the work of writers who are the artists, and bring their creations into life in new languages and new cultures and new contexts. The writer may create the original masterpiece, but it is the translator who acts as the curator, carefully navigating the nuances of language, of cultures, and in order to preserve the essence and the actual soul of the original work. Translation, unfortunately, is often perceived as a mechanical process, just a task of converting words from one language to another. Yet, I think that we should really invite everyone to see it through a different lens, a lens that reveals the creativity embedded in our work, because each translation is a unique interpretation, a creative process requiring a deep understanding of the context, culture, and emotion. And translation is not just a linguistic transaction. It is, in fact, a process that is deeply rooted in culture, and in which culture plays an essential role. Translators, as Marianne Lederer describes them, are the guardians, protectors, and advocates of cultures around the world. So let's imagine together a world where translations are executed only by machines. Imagine machines translating poems written by Mahmoud Darwish or poems written by Maya Angelou. While technology certainly enhances our skills, it's really essential, especially now, to recognize that it can never replicate the human touch and the human creativity and emotions and cultural awareness. We must embrace technological advances as tools that help and assist us and amplify our work, rather than replace the creativity and insight we bring to each translation. A machine can process data and translate words, but at least until now, it lacks the intuition, cultural awareness, and emotional deepness and emotional intelligence that only a human translator can provide. This is the creative power of translation, and it's our greatest asset. It really allows us to transform a text into an entire experience, to breathe life into words that would otherwise remain flat and lifeless. The human element infuses our translations with characters, emotions, authenticity that machines cannot replicate. This is why we must really protect our art and our artworks. And here I draw parallels between curating art and translating, especially literature, especially when translating texts that are really rich with references, cultural references, or emotions. Because these texts usually include cultural references that are essential to their identity, such as geography, sociolinguistic aspects, history, among others, like forms of greetings, names, cultural specific concepts, and perhaps humor. These cultural elements really differ not only from one language to another, but also from one community to another. While translating a text from English into Arabic, the translator should be aware of the culture of the audience and the cultural nuances. For example, translating to readers in the UAE is different than translating for readers in Lebanon, although it's always the same language, Arabic. The original author paints vivid images with his words that would resonate with readers from his own cultural background. However, translating those references for a new audience requires careful curation. We have to preserve the heart and soul of the narrative while at the same time ensuring it really connects with readers who might not share the exact same cultural background. As for the emotional side, the translator's emotional intelligence really plays a critical role in understanding the feelings and ideas within the source text. And it really helps him in conveying them to the target reader in a way that speaks to him. Emotional intelligence is therefore closely linked to the translation process. For example, when working on translating a technical manual for an electronic device, the translator doesn't really go through the same mental and emotional experience compared to translating a love poem or a letter written by a mother before her death, or a story of a sick child, or even a fiction novel that really brings back real memories. As we reflect on the challenges we face in this really rapidly changing landscape where technology and artificial intelligence are advancing at a unique pace, we must also recognize the opportunities they present. And technology should not be viewed as a rival, but as a powerful assistant able to help us in our work. It can enhance our productivity and free us to really focus on the creative aspects of our work. However, it's our responsibility also to ensure that the human touch remains at the forefront of translation. And we must advocate for a future where technology supports our work rather than replaces it. This means championing our rights as translators, protecting our intellectual property, and nurturing our creativity in a way that really thrives alongside technological advancements. So on this day, let us celebrate our creativity. Let us honor the countless hours we have invested in mastering our craft, and acknowledge the fear of many of our colleagues who feel that, who are really fearing the future of our profession. We must stand together, not just as translators, but as curators committed to preserving the integrity of our artworks. And as we move forward, let us remember that every time we translate a text, we are not just merely transferring information. We are weaving a tapestry of cultures, emotions, connections that transcends borders and languages. So let us protect this art with the passion and commitment it really deserves. To conclude, I would go so far as to say that the translator becomes the artist of the target text, not only the curator. While the original work remains the source of inspiration, it is through the translator's creativity, intuition, skills, and emotion that the text takes on a new form, one that resonates with an entirely different audience. I know that this notion has long been the subject of debate in translation circles, sparkling discussions about authorship and fidelity to the source. Yet, in my view, the translator is not just a channel for the author's word, but a creative force that interprets, reshapes, and breathes life into the target text. Each translation is a unique artwork crafted with care to preserve the essence and the soul of the original while making it accessible and really meaningful to a different target audience. So happy International Translation Day to all the artists out there. And thank you so much.
Happy International Translation Day to you, Dr. Nabiha. Thank you. Thank you for your unique presentation.
Thank
I
you,
really
Nancy.
enjoyed it. Let me remind everyone, feel free to ask the questions by writing them in the chat box. Oh. And now, panel discussion time. I'm really excited about the insights we are going to share today. We have an incredible lineup of speakers. Thank you all for being here, and let's dive right into the first part of our discussion. It's a game. Elsa?
Well, someone expected some surprises, so here's surprise, surprise. So, okay. So it's going to be a small game because, I don't like classical stuff. What will happen is that, as Nancy said, we have a beautiful lineup of beautiful speakers, and I couldn't not take advantage of this opportunity. So what will happen is I'm going to start asking a question to someone. Now that someone will respond to the question and will be responsible for choosing someone else to ask them another question, and so on. So you will be the ones leading this session. And so in order for me to make myself a little bit more clear, I will start with Nancy so that we know how the game will go.
Okay.
Surprise!
Okay.
So my question to you, Nancy, and it's a lot related to everything that we've been now discussing about AI and technology and trans technology and all that. If I was a student who is looking now to get into the career world, looking at her options, etc., etc., and she came across translation and she said, I'm not going to do translation. It's something that's going to be obsolete, and very soon we will be not even we now, clients or people are just using AI for anything and everything, and they are able to get all the answers they want. And so there is no point in studying 3, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it is, just for us to struggle in the market and lose everything that we've done and then have to redo everything all over again. So if you come across such a person, what would you say to her?
To be honest, I don't believe in AI the way others do. They call it artificial intelligence, but it's not. It's not intelligent. It's just a machine learning tool. They are learning from us. Let's agree on that. So AI won't replace us, but it will replace those who don't adapt and blindly rely on these tools. In this process, we are the teachers, not the followers. Okay? So my advice to her is to be in control, not to be controlled. Keep in mind that the human touch, as Dr. Nabiha said, is irreplaceable. Even though AI may seem convincing, it often lacks the accuracy and that only a skilled human translator can provide. So remember, I'll tell you something funny. Even the so-called magic of AI needs a human spell to work. So we had the upper hand. So don't rely on AI and tell her about that. Machine translation or computer-assisted tools blindly, as long as you hold the remote control, you will never be replaced. And it's not theoretical talk, it's practical. And I'll prove that tomorrow, inshallah.
Oh, yes, we have a lot of things that will happen tomorrow. So
Yeah.
please stay tuned because surprises will not be limited to today. So, and I will be back to this question, of course, with so many
It's my
people that I.
turn.
Yes, now it's your turn.
Okay. I'd love to play with Rania. Hi, Rania.
Sure. I saw that coming. Hi, Nancy.
I'm fine, great. Okay, to save time, I'll ask you the question. Okay, Rania, what are the ethical concerns of using machine translation in fields like legal, medical, or diplomatic work?
That's an excellent question, Nancy. So, as a court interpreter and a legal translator myself, a sworn translator, which means a certified public translator in Lebanon, I will tell you one thing. I do not rely on machine translation whatsoever in anything that has to do with legal work, simply because the mere fact that it is legal work means that it is unethical to use machine translation for it, even if you think maybe it's something as easy as replacing names or numbers and you think that's okay, but this is still personal information and you cannot take the risk of running these legal documents into machine translation and AI. And so I would much rather go the old school route and simply just translate everything from scratch. This way, I'm protecting the client's critical information. I am upholding our ethical standards, and this way, I'm gonna say something that might come as a shock, but AI is used to cut costs, and so my goal is to actually find clients who are the right clients for me and who respect my work. And therefore, what I need to do is to respect this craft myself and not use AI or machine translation. And this will give me the tool to charge my worth. I hope that makes sense.
One is amazing. That was like, I'm not gonna take that. And it's so nice to see someone who's like, hey, this thing is not gonna work for me. And if the client doesn't want it, I'm gonna find my own clients. And this is a winning attitude for me. That's amazing.
I'm glad you
Now
agree.
Yeah, of course. I mean, now your turn.
My turn.
Mhm.
Let's see. I'm choosing Mike. Hey
With the
there.
pink suit.
Unmute. I should have been used to this, but 4 years into it. I was expecting that as well. I knew it. If it wasn't going to be you, it was going to be me. So, here we go. Try me. I feel like I'm a fish out of water here, but let's see what you got for me.
You a fish out of water?
Well, I'm among all these like highly, rated translators, these smart minds. Like I'm just an interpreter. Like I just talk really fast, so I don't give myself so much credit. I just have to be quick on the ball. That's it.
That's just your imposter syndrome kicking in right now.
All right, shoot. Let's see what I got for you.
Right. How can translators ensure that the accuracy and integrity of translations are upheld when using AI-based tools?
Oh gosh. I told Elsa about guys, you got to realize I'm 100% interpreter and 0% translator. But wow, how to protect the integrity? Well, you know what? Like, let me just see. I did a few studies.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Mike. Go ahead and talk about interpreting. So International Translation Day doesn't have to be only about translation. After all, interpreting is a form of oral translation. So go for it.
Okay, this is what I'll do. Okay, you're saving me. I thank you so much, Rania. Now I feel a bit better. I'm back in the water now. I'm back in the water. Okay, so for me, you just talked about AI, and I have been experimenting with it on our platforms. Rania, she's part of Hot Sauce Interpreters. I'm part of her group as well, TransPerfect and Prime Premium. And there's a lot of talk about AI. There's a lot of talk about using it, not using it, when to use it, when we shouldn't use it. And for me, as an interpreter, I'm strictly speaking as an interpreter here, so it does not apply obviously to all the translators, because I don't have to be worried about the wording of whatever AI is going to produce for me, whatever Chat GPT is going to be using for me. But I can say, for me as an interpreter, Chat GPT has become a very useful tool. And what I mean by that, I'll give you a little example. I was probably going to talk about this, but example, if I'm going to be like, just last week, I was in a fishing conference, okay? And I did not know, obviously, all the fish species in our Canadian waters, okay? So all I knew, I had no documents. All I knew was that it was about Canadian fishing waters. So I type into Chat GPT, give me the 100 top fish in Canadian waters. So it listed off a whole bunch of fish. And then I knew that the industry was more about the edible fish, the what we eat as fish. So I said, what are the top 10 fish, and it slapped out all those fish. And obviously, nothing that's fun with ChatGPT is if you prompt it with the right questions, well, it becomes very useful in creating a translation. Now, beware, sometimes the translation is not always accurate. Okay, so you got to know your stuff. But in the case that you don't know stuff, like I didn't know about fish, I had to trust it, right? So what's fun about the Chat GPT is you create a list of words, a glossary of words, and then after that, in addition, I tested that this week actually when I was talking about it to the interpreters in our WhatsApp group, that it's so fantastic that you're able to even ask and prompt Chat GPT to create an Excel file, a Word file, a PDF file, creating a list of words side by side in the source language and then into your target language. And I just honestly, I love it for that. I love the fact also that you could, we have to choose what you're putting into it, right? There's also other people were trying out the fact that you could actually drop a PDF file into ChatGPT. You can actually drop a PowerPoint into ChatGPT. You can actually drop a Word document into ChatGPT to create glossaries. Okay, you could also, for us as interpreters, I'm speaking, obviously, when I'm going 100 miles an hour as I am right now, this is about the speed I interpret at anyways, because most speakers speak at this speed anyways, right? So you got to be used to it. And I know Ranya's, we were laughing about it in the group as well. I was hoping that there was going to be no interpreter trying to interpret me because I would give them a breakdown. So, but we got to use the technology to our advantage. I think this is a theme also that's going to be woven into everything that's been spoken about today. We have to use the technology, in a smart way, a safe way, trying to be as ethical as possible. And when I think about ethical, well, Rania mentioned the fact that, removing names and phone numbers and addresses and stuff. Well, that's kind of what I do up to this point. I've been doing that, but obviously as an interpreter, I haven't been doing any. I stay away 100 miles away from everything that has to do with legal, that has to do with medical and pharmaceutical. So I'm not putting anybody's life in danger, right? So I'm just talking about fish most of the time. So I say you should try it. Give it a try. I saw in the statistics that Dom was sharing at the beginning, trying to pay attention to everything that's being said to sound smart and look smart. But I found it very interesting. They were saying that not many, it was lower than 50% of the people that actually tried it. So I think before you can say something really bad about it, or before something really bad happens, I think we have to be able to try it and know for ourselves what are the limitations of it, up to where can I go with it, and where is it going to be useful for me? For the glossaries, it is so amazing. It's really fantastic. And even if you don't want to drop any, sensitive material in the Chat GPT, if you prompt it with the right questions, it's going to give you a whole lot of information, like faster than Google, because it does all the curating for you, right? You just need to find it and use it. So that's my encouragement for you guys on what has to do with Chat GPT and AI. Be careful, but be smart. And I think you guys are a lot smarter than all I am. So I know that you're going to be using it safely. So I guess that's what I have to say. I hope that gives you a bit of something to munch on this morning.
Hey, Mike, before you go ahead and choose someone to ask them a question, I see an opportunity for a little wordplay. And you know me, I have to jump on the opportunity.
Come on.
Since we're talking about AI and we're talking about fish and we're talking about information sensitivity, I just have a few words to say. So long as it's not fishy, go ahead and use AI for your search. I'm all for adapting and not being an ostrich and sticking my head in the sand.
Right. Yeah. Sole. I like that. It's the type of fish. Okay, I got it. I got at least one of the fish that you said in there. But definitely, you definitely have to try it. It is a tool. I believe it will get better, but it might, as I say that it might get better, it might get more dangerous as well. So let's just be careful how we're going to use it. I could give maybe just one more little thing. When I'm using the technology, I don't know if you know, but as we're interpreting, you could actually use closed captioning. So a lot of interpreters, when I present that to them, they don't know about that. So that is using the technology in a smart way, especially when you have speakers that talk very fast and you want to capture names, addresses, numbers, phone numbers. The AI is really good at helping use that. So I encourage interpreters to use it while they're in the booth, among the other tools that we use, DeepL or any other translation tool that we're using. Or that's it. Okay, so do I get to pick somebody now? I get to pick. Okay, who am I going to pick? There's some wonderful faces here. I mean, but you know what? I'm really intrigued because I don't know if you noticed, guys, but I noticed this face. She's just been there the whole time, just looking into the screen. And I'm starting to think that it's a picture. So I'm going to pick a Yolanda Bello if she's ready to come on screen. Is she even there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm teasing you. But I saw that wonderful face. I said, okay, I got to pick on that person. Come on, bring it on. Oh, okay. So what question I have to ask you? Well, let's see here. Okay, well, hey, okay, I'll just make up something here. As I'm presuming everybody here are translators. First of all, maybe not all interpreters, but Yolanda, just first part of the question: Do you interpret?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what can you transfer from your translation skills into? How do you bring your translation skills and your expertise as a translator into your interpreter mode?
I think the most important thing that you can really transfer immediately without giving it too much thought is all of the terminology that you usually work with. If that's the field that you're also interpreting in, it's fantastic. Because, for example, I work mostly for the oil and gas industry. That has been my main field of work for almost 28 years that I've been working so far. So everything that you translate is you're constantly having to look up for terminology, words, definitions, trying to understand how the contracts work, how the power plant works, how the refinery works, and all of that you end up accumulating without noticing, but it does. I mean, after a while you have already memorized a lot of things and have already understood a lot of things. And when you're asked, for example, like I was, to go for a month or 3 months in a row to interpret a training course on, let's say, gas turbines and everything related to gas turbines regarding operation and maintenance and the manuals and the distributed control system in a power plant and everything, you don't know everything, but you already know a lot because you have been translating the manuals, the technical specifications, the letters between the contractor and the power plant, and that's how you learn, and that's how you can transfer that. Obviously, you still have to prepare for the interpretation because you need to get, for example, the documents for that interpretation. If there are manuals that you should be reading because it's a training, if there is a presentation that somebody is going to discuss before an audience, is it going to be online? Is it going to be in person? Maybe you're going to be on the site. Maybe you're going to be walking around offshore like I have been. So all of that translates and makes it easier for you to do the work, the actual work, and it also makes it easier for you to understand the context at the moment when you're doing your research before the actual interpretation. That's how I would explain it.
Well, yeah, that's quite impressive, especially being specialized in that industry. I'd be curious, actually, that you would take a glossary of your own words and drop it into ChatGPT to see if it has the same translation as you use on the ground, really. So yeah, that's very interesting.
I think ChatGPT is extremely useful. I don't use when ChatGPT was first released, I found it fascinating. I doubt anyone doesn't find it fascinating, but I am currently using more Perplexity.ai. Many people I'm here are acquainted with that as well. It's fascinating because it doesn't hallucinate that much, and it gives you the sources, it gives you the bibliography, the sources, everything where the information is coming from, and it's actually annotated. It's fascinating. There are also there are also other things that you could be using. There is one called Como.ai, PHIND.ai, or is it .com? I don't remember the names of all of them, but they provide a lot of information when you're doing your research for terminology, glossaries, dictionaries,
Right.
and everything available.
We have also other things like Gemini.
Mhm.
I feel like it's different from one another. Now, I want to introduce you to someone who's been a bit silent today, but tomorrow they will have much more spotlight. Dr. Muhammad Amir, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I expected that. How are you, Elsa? How's everything? Hello,
I'm
everybody.
doing great. How about you?
Thank you so much, Brett Fine. Thank you so much, and it's wonderful to be here.
Very, very happy.
Thank
Our
you so much.
pleasure.
Yeah, it's
I came
honor
across
mine.
some of the questions in the chat, and a question really actually caught my eye. In
Yeah.
what way can AI-powered translation tools enhance cross-cultural communication while maintaining the nuances of human language?
Oh, wonderful. That's a very, very, very nice question. And actually, it's one of the most important questions that you can actually ask and to talk about it. But actually, I'd like first to thank all of you to be here and invite me for this actually an insightful meeting. And also, thank you so much for the insightful presentation that you already gave. So actually, being one of those responsible for preparing young people to be translators and interpreters for the future are actually always make sure that they are well prepared for this. So actually, this was one of the main questions that have been asked by the translators or the young translators in universities or institutes. So actually, if we're connecting this to AI or using AI-based tools, actually translators can also take several steps to ensure that the accuracy and the integrity of translations and even interpreting. I'm also working interpreting as well are upheld. So actually, while some tools can greatly enhance productivity, integrity, it's very essential that human translators, I'm talking about us, we need to remain actively involved in the translation process to verify that we improve the output every single time. So it's not like just use AI or just use cat tools, for example, and then we got the result, and then let's deliver the translation to the client and then get paid. So actually, I have some ideas that can help with this. So actually, this I think, according to my experience, will be somehow helpful. So let's talk more about step number one, which can be always understanding the limitations of AI-based tools. So, yeah, I have been using Google Translate or DeepL. They are very, very useful. They are incredibly useful. But actually, they still have some limitations. Actually, I can't imagine me like training one student or an undergrad on translating a poem or a piece of literature on DeepL or Google Translate or any other product. So actually, they may struggle with idiomatic expressions, cultural nuances, specialized terminology. Actually, one good use of AI actually can be concerning the glossary building. Actually, I really liked how Mike put this on place concerning the glossary building skills that can be always developed through the use of AI. Also using AI as a complement and not a substitute. So actually, it's complementing our work. It's not a substitution thing. So AI can handle repetitive tasks. So nowadays I have this task. Tomorrow I have another task. The other week I have a totally other task. So actually, we have large volumes of text quickly they can handle, but it cannot fully replace human expertise in areas like culture, creativity, cultural sensitivity, and also emotional intelligence. So there is widely different between emotional
Wow.
intelligence and also artificial intelligence. Uh, Final step to follow here in this agenda can be always customizing translation tools and with glossaries and style guides, because a lot of AI-based tools, translation tools, or interpreting tools, even cat tools or Kai tools, allow for the use of custom glossaries and style guides. So actually, I ask my students to prepare some guidelines for the translation and the interpreting, and always glossaries. So actually, AI tools can help with this because this feature ensures consistency and accuracy, especially when you deal with translations in specialized fields like economics, like technology, can be also and political translation, which is going viral right now. I can also conclude with a certain point, which is very important that I like to talk about, which is the ethical use of translation tools. Like in sensitive fields like the legal or maybe medical, legal, healthcare, diplomatic translation as well, business negotiations, confidentiality and privacy are critical. A lot of AI tools actually they do not provide you with much security or safety. So a lot of information can be just fed online, and after that they can be leaked. So this is one of the most pitfalls of the of AI. So actually, when you deal with the students or new learners or
Wow.
younger translators and interpreters, actually
Right.
this is one of the most important points that you need to focus on. And
Very good.
that's it. I hope I
Amazing.
answered the question.
And tomorrow we will have a lot more than this, a lot, and I know that we will have a like a little bit more detailed insight about everything
Sure,
related to it, to
sure.
AI.
Thank
So
you
I'm
so much,
very,
Elsa.
very excited about it. So I would love, before we finish to have a little bit your take, Dom and Dr. Nabiha, about all this talk about AI replacing humans, what's going on, what's going to happen. So as much as we can keep it brief and short, but I mean, I would really like to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, actually, what Dom already highlighted is that using machine is not new to our field. It really dates back to the 1950s, and back then we were afraid that it will replace us, and it didn't. And now, although it's a different kind of intelligence, and however, we are still here, we are still artists, and we're still creating art. So I truly believe that AI will assist us in all aspects of our life, not only in translation. So it's really important to remember that we cannot resist the advancements we're witnessing all over the world. However, it's really about our perspective on how to use these tools to help us make our life easier and better, and leave us some space to enhance our creativity and not look at it as a danger. Although I know it's a big problematic a question now, but I truly think that as it's not a new, especially in translation, it's not a new tool. It's been there since the 50s, so I think we will be able to manage along the way.
That's a beautiful insight. And yes, it happened actually when the Industrial Revolution came and so many people were afraid for their jobs. And then it turned out that, hey, things could get even better. So now we are at a same or at a similar crossroads. So how, as most translators, not all of them, but most of them are entrepreneurs. So how, as entrepreneurs, they can try and not try, they can take the winning card and impose themselves, if I could use that word, in the market. So this is something to be thought of, how to be flexible with the market, but know how to keep the value there. So a lot of things come into play. And now I'll go for Dom.
Well, I think Nabi has covered it very well. I mean, I suppose the only thing I would add is that I do think we'll increasingly see kind of mixed models. You know, there will be circumstances where actually AI and machine translation is fine for the purposes for content that is maybe not that important. You know, very dry. I mean, we see this already with, for example, sort of user-generated reviews, TripAdvisor, Google reviews, and so forth, where the chances of a translator paying a translator to translate those reviews in every single language is not going to happen, and people will tolerate sort of a sort of poorish translation, but which gives them an idea, so they kind of fit the purpose there. We'll of course see ever increasing sort of use of post editing as well for content. But it really depends on the content. If the content is important, then that's that's where the human, the translator, becomes ever more important there, both in terms of quality of translation, understanding, the whole sort of intercultural communication aspects, nuances, and as other speakers have already said today. So it's really going to depend, but Mike's given great examples of using AI for your own benefit. The most fun area is going to be translators with AI as their kind of assistants. They're enthusiastic, error-strewn, but often quite clever assistant, to help them translate. There'll be some cases where maybe AI is fine because it doesn't really matter with the context, and then there'll be a kind of mid-range where human is still giving the oversight and checking it, and giving accountability for the translation. So I think there's going to be a whole sort of range, and depending on the quality that's required and the complexity of the text, and the need for understanding, really.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you, Will. I'm sorry, Elsa. I just have to say something, like to emphasize something that Dom said, which is it's going to be fine as long as AI keeps the A in AI. It's going to be fine. AI is limited. It doesn't have the human touch. It will never have the human touch. It is so limited in what it does. No matter how advanced it becomes, it will always remain limited. It cannot do transcreation. It cannot do creative writing. It cannot do dialects. I tried it with Lebanese dialect the other day. Even with glossary, I tried. I'm preparing for a conference and I will be interpreting from Lebanese Arabic, not just modern standard Arabic. And I tried to come up with the glossary. It just gave me modern standard Arabic. So far, at least for Arabic and with the different dialects, it's got a long way to go. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Exactly, which is actually very interesting, which also emphasizes the human intelligence and its importance, and how we can do things that the artificial cannot do. Now, I have one raised hand and I don't really have so much time left, so I will just allow for Mandy to ask very quickly your question, please. And for a very quick response after, we'll have to close in respect of time for the panelists and for you, everyone who have been here with us from the beginning. Mandy, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, are you calling my name?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're talking about the Industrial Revolution, I get a lot of alarms and red lights in my head, because with the Industrial Revolution, with the passage of time, we have no control over quality, and this we really need to guard against with AI as well. For our work and for the client, I mean, we need to always keep an eye. This is what I wanted to say. Not very organized idea, but
very important, actually very important. And it's thank you for mentioning that, because this should be an experience for us. So what happened in the past should be a lesson learned for now, the present, and the future. So as long as we take it as a lesson learned and not something as we are afraid of, this is when we win. This is my take on it.
Yeah, I love that.
So who has anything else to add? And here Mike is sharing his contacts. Mike, do you have anything to share, to add?
Yeah, just be there tomorrow. You don't want to miss anything. Obviously, everything, we all hear a lot of this stuff. You guys do a lot of reading. We do a lot of reading and study and research. And but it's good to hear it from somebody else. It kind of confirms, and especially from human beings telling us what's happening on the ground, right? So get out there, be there, and don't miss the opportunity. These are great opportunities to get to learn and grow and become better at our craft. So yeah. And I just love the fact that AI cannot match my energy. So I'm not going anywhere, baby. Come on.
No one can. No one can.
Well, maybe Rania can. I think she could.
What exactly is it? What exactly? I was typing down my information,
I was
so
saying
I
that
didn't really catch what.
I think that you may have just about the same level of energy as I do. So I'm thinking, AI
No,
has
it's not.
nothing on us in the
No,
booth.
no. It's not just about it. I'm pretty sure I have more energy.
Come on. So keep, that we have an upper hand on AI. Somebody was asking me the question in the chat, what I thought about that, about cultural stuff, sensitive stuff, emotions. It ain't got nothing on us, like a good American would say. It ain't got
Amen
nothing
to
on
that.
us, right? So if you are, I know less about the translation, but obviously in interpretation, I don't think there's any machine, not for a long time, that a machine is going to be able to catch up to, those very fast speed. The Chinese native who's a Chinese, but he's trying to speak English, and he's speaking really fast. But do you think AI is going to be able to catch up with that? No way. There's no way. Not yet. Anyways, I don't see it coming.
Excellent point.
Right.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm all over the place, but that's an excellent point.
My wife says I always butt in. We always butt in.
It's not just being fast. It's not just fast speakers. It's also, let's talk about court interpreting, which is major in the US market. I don't think AI would ever replace a court interpreter. There are so many intricacies. There are so many intricacies in court interpreting and working with courts and being an officer of the court, working with attorneys and judges and defendants and witnesses and witnesses who, or deponents who are giving a very emotional testimony. And imagine having a machine taking all the emotion from that testimony and just interpreting words. It's just it would be absolutely horrible. It would be even for medical interpreting as well. Imagine a doctor giving a diagnosis to a patient and the machine just brutally tells it as it is. It's just, I don't think it would ever replace a human, at least in those two fields. Now, for conference interpreting, as Mike said, there could be speakers who have really heavy accents. I don't know, maybe later AI or like machine translation tools would try to catch all the words that the speaker is uttering, but I kind of highly doubt it. I don't know. I'm still. Well. I believe in us. I believe in humans.
Come on.
I believe in us, taking the wheel and taking the bull by the horns.
Come on.
Exactly. So now we're at 27. So would you allow me the last 3 to 4 minutes to have this little conversation with Mike?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not sure. You ready for that?
Well, I'm ready. Are you?
I am. I think I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm checking my notes here to make sure I don't want to forget anything. But okay. So after seeing and hearing everything that went on, are your note-taking skills as good as your translation skills? So tell us what are your main takeaways in today's event?
Okay, you're challenging me, so I accept the challenge, and I will take it even further. So I'll state my takeaway from actually every speaker who was speaking at at this beautiful event. So let's start with Dom. Dom, you were speaking about this controversy that now we are all involved in about translation technology, generative AI, and how we are going to handle that, the evolution of machine translation, and then now with generative AI that came and revolutionized also the entire industry, that we have this before and after era. So and the CIOL views. With Dr. Melissa, we had an intro to the USJ, or the St. Joseph University, translation as an art, and how the emotions, the style, the interpretation, and I remember this beautiful use of music as an example, and as an artist myself, it was little I was on my little cloud nine. I was very, very happy with that. So, and yes, this is true. So yes, the music is the same. Yes, the notes are the same, but the interpretation is different, and the way it conveys to other people is different. And this is something that is irreplaceable by AI. From Dr. Nabiha, I was like on my cloud nine since the beginning of your presentation. It was so amazing, and I remember you spoke about your um, experience at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi, and how art curators were taking care of every piece of art, and how translators do the same, especially when a writer crafts this piece of art with the words used as brush, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory is good. The relation between translation, creativity, and emotional intelligence, a field that I work a lot on, and that I'm studying a little bit more in depth. And so how to find a way for tech to come to our service instead of being as a rival, and actually the wrong attitude from the very beginning at seeing it as a rival, because we are dominating it from the very beginning. So I hope this worked out well. You're welcome. And from our panel discussion, it turned out that we have some very nice tea to spill tomorrow. What about you, Mike, for your takeaways?
Yeah, listen, obviously, I have the memory of a goldfish. So as an interpreter, I just remember what comes in and goes out. Comes in one door, leaves the other door. So, but what really impresses me about every time I talk to translators and listen to, especially listening to you guys, is like, opening up a treasure box of candy and chocolate, right? It's just like, you guys are just so beautiful at what you say and how you say it. And I think that I was like, when I was listening to Nabia, she is so poetic. I mean, Nabia, it's so amazing. Like, who wants to read AI when you can listen to Nabia, right? And that's one thing that I find with translators. All of you guys and gals are just fantastic. And don't minimize your skills. Be out there. Be on top of things. I'm really happy to see also get to know Dom a bit just by looking at him. He looks like a real straight cut guy, like the typical translator, right? He's wearing a black shirt, not too exciting, but a lot of translators are like that, right? But he seems to be the guy who's on top of things, and I'm so happy that he's in charge of that association right now. And so I just encourage you guys to keep going on. And but Elsa, didn't you mention something, or you alluded to the fact that there was going to be like some secret? What's this big secret there? What are you talking about? Some confession. What's the confession? Come on, bring it on, bring it on. This interpreter's listening.
I always like to interrupt. That's my thing. I'm a little rebel. Before you move on to the surprise or to whatever it is that you want to move on to, he's talking about Nabiha. Do you know she is really aptly named Ism ala Musamma. Nabiha, you were incredible. Thank you so much for your one-of-a-kind presentation.
Thank you,
And just like your name, Nabiha. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Off to you, Elsa. Or can we take Carmelo's question, please? Please, please, please.
Carmelo, he's a great guy.
Hello, everyone. Glad to see you.
You just
listen, I just want to always highlight the great attitude towards life that Mike, Rania, and other people have in the group, because some people feel overwhelmed with the arrival of these technologies that seem to challenge the world the way we know it, no? So, let's stop calling the machine oral translation interpretation, because that's not interpretation. So the first thing, or the first call I launch upon you, is not to help the so-called industry, which I hate as well as a term. We are a community of professionals, of experts. We're not just, like a piece of a production chain. That's what I call the sausage factory approach to translation and interpretation.
I love it.
So let's continue working in the sense of community, and maybe give hope to those that feel overwhelmed, because I know I have read people that, feels hopeless. And what I'm in these groups, I see a lot of talent. I see wonders, happening in events like where you have difficult speakers even nonsensical speakers, and how interpreters are able to transform that into something edible, to say it in a way, no, for the listener. So I just wanted to share that reflection on this Friday. So good job, guys, in cheering up those who may feel depressed or threatened.
Love you, Carmelo. You're awesome. He's a go-to
Likewise,
guy.
Carmelo. I have the
Amazing,
utmost
really.
respect for you. Thank you for upholding all the standards in our profession.
Thank you, really. Thank you for being really here for us, and very, very happy with your beautiful intervention. Really. So back to my little before I get back to my little secret, someone just asked me to speak about this. My response to the Industrial Revolution thing. It's just to use it as a lesson for us to not repeat the same mistakes as what happened by then. And so take it as an opportunity to go forward and not to repeat. So yeah, that was my little
both a
take.
blessing and a lesson. It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what
we
about
have to
this?
take that as a blessing.
Yeah.
What about the secret? You're trying to get away from the secret there. What's the secret? Come on, bring us the secret.
It's not her fault. It was me being a rebel again, and we're already 5 minutes past the deadline. But
I want the secret. I want the secret. I want the secret.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure everybody is enjoying this session because nobody has left yet. And thank you to everyone who is attending and who has attended and who hasn't left thus far. On to you again, Elsa. This time I will not interrupt, I promise.
So 94 participants, guys. This is amazing. It's amazing. And no worries, Rania. I am a rebel too. You can see the proof. So indeed, Mike, it is true that I have a little secret, and I do have sharp note-taking skills. I'm an interpreter, a fully fledged interpreter. But while we have AI and tech to work for us, why work hard while you can work smart?
Come on, you got it.
So
truer words have never been spoken. I did it again. I'm sorry.
Somebody shut her up. Shut her up. Come on.
Mute, Rania.
Ain't gonna happen.
Does the host have control over this?
Sky is blue.
Oh.
People have tried. People keep trying. Mike, stop
Don't
trying.
co-hosts have mute
no wonder
controls?
you are an interpreter. No wonder you're an interpreter.
It's so true.
Oh yeah, we activated the Zoom AI companion to take notes for me, and it made my life so much easier. It made me look smarter too. Hey.
I did not know that.
So
you didn't know.
don't forget to join us tomorrow for more surprises to come. Thank you all for this lovely night. I'm so happy to have you today. More than happy, Elsa.
Oh, this one is a different thing.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah.
So much is waiting for us tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I will be giving very brief idea. I will talk about mindset, entrepreneurship, fear of being replaced. So these are things that I specialize in, and I will be more than happy, Nancy, to share. Nancy will explain even more why CPD is so important, and you want to hang out for this one because a beautiful surprise is awaiting. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Dr. Muhammad will answer all your questions about AI and debunk so many myths. Not so much pressure, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you so much. This will happen tomorrow for sure.
And we have a big project in the making. We will be talking about it tomorrow, something that will take also our profession to the next level. So stay tuned. Nancy, you have also a very important celebration.
Yeah, our anniversary, ABIC's Group International Anniversary tomorrow. So we will start with celebrating with our 10 years of success.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Onwards and upwards.
Happy anniversary.
So thank you all. Elsa, you have something to add?
No, I was just asking the same thing. Any last thing to add? Anyone who wants to bring in their little grain of, I don't know, craziness or something before we close?
Surprised
Am I
Rania
going
didn't
to
say
be the
anything yet.
one?
Oh my
I
gosh, she
knew
did
it.
it.
I knew it. I knew. It's like he's the
You know
male
what?
version of me, and I'm the female version of him. It's
Okay.
something.
One last fun.
And not
Okay,
fail.
a funny
Yes,
last thing.
recordings will be available also.
Oh gosh, you should. Yeah, you need to have party rooms. But you know, when you go to meetings where you have, these conferences where in person, where the translators, interpreters are there. You know how you recognize them? You just look in one corner, and you got all the flamboyant pink, flamboyant colors talking real loud with their hands, and then you have in the other corner all the translators. They're dressed in beige and blue and black, and they're just talking really smart. Isn't that so true? It's so true, right? Anyways, I love you guys. You're awesome. Have a great day, and hope to see you tomorrow. I might drop in, but anyways, we'll see.
Half double the fun, please.
Yeah, exactly. Love you guys.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Dr. Nabia. Thank you, Rania, Mike, Elsa, Dr. Muhammad. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. Bye. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Nice seeing you, everyone. Very
Thank
happy
you
to
very
have
much,
you.
Nancy. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Take care.
Ciao.